Love.
Hmm?
I love 7-Eleven.
The
It's
chain?
like, uh-huh. It, you know what?
Do
It's
you have a
take,
favorite franchise location?
well, the one closest to my house because it's closest to my house.
Hmm.
But when I drink Diet Dr. Pepper every single day, I get a giant big gulp, and it was like the best part of my day. And I love seven. It's so hard for me to restrain myself from getting the 7-Eleven Crocs because I love 7-Eleven so much. They're like 80
Really?
bucks. Uh-huh.
Okay, there's every part of what you just said sounds like dog shit to me. So let's dig in real deep.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so first of all, Crocs, gross. Second of all, you want corporate branded 7-Eleven Crocs.
Yeah.
You're wearing Crocs right now.
Yeah. I bought them because they're like the shade of Beetles where they like change colors when you look them different light. And I was
Ooh,
like,
sort
ooh,
of
that's neat.
pearlescent.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's
I
kind
was
of
like,
cool.
I hate myself for buying these because I hate Crocs so much. And then I wore them and I was like, fuck.
Yeah,
They're
isn't it the
really.
worst when you hate something and you give over to it because it wins, and then you're like, I just have to either hate myself or become a different person?
This is my personality now. I'm a.
So years ago, I committed hard to Tivas.
Oh, you got no place to say anything then. You could shut the hell up about Crocs.
They're sports sandals, though.
Yeah, I just think it would be funny to own 7-Eleven Crocs. Not because I love it that much. I just think it's really funny.
I mean, I think that if I happened into a pair of 7-Eleven Crocs, I
Hmm.
might enjoy that because it was funny, but to like
Spend
seek them
80 bucks
out,
on it?
spend any amount of money, spend 80 cents on it, forget it. Forget it. I mean, listen, fuck me. Like, you should be able to enjoy the things you enjoy. Like, I'm clearly an asshole.
Except Crocs.
I don't understand the appeal. And then I go somewhere and I see like people have all these doodads on their
Oh, God.
Crocs.
Yeah,
What's all that shit?
I'm too
That's
old
like a
for that shit.
thing.
I know,
It's
I
like
don't.
it's like having enamel pins on your jacket, but instead it's all over your Crocs.
Yeah, I don't. That's a whole other thing. They're really fucking comfortable. Like, I don't want to like them. They're so ugly. I'm embarrassed when I'm wearing them, but
Well,
they're
my
so
understanding
comfortable.
is that like like old school Dutch clogs, which these are like made to be like, except that they're like a squishy rubber. Are they a
Uh-huh.
squishy rubber?
They got some weird newfangled rubbery thing. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think that old school clogs are supposed to be like the most comfortable thing that you could like wear for days and days. And you're like, those wooden shoes for real? But something about their design made them superior. I don't know.
In the 80s, we ladies had these things called Dr. Scholl sandals, and they were basically the concept was the clog, the sole was wood, and then there was just like a leather strap over the toes, and they were supposed to be the most comfortable things in the world. They were made by Dr. Scholl's. They hurt my feet a lot.
Oh.
I don't want hard things on my feet. I want soft things on my feet.
Yeah. I am since I gave over so much of my life to being a person who runs, my
And where's
focus has been
Tiva?
on like running sneakers ever since.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I
See
have
what?
like they have, at running stores, they like put you on a treadmill and they diagnose what kind of sneakers you're supposed to have.
Yeah.
And it's true. And like they're right about it.
Yeah, they can tell by your gait and how you make a step and whatever.
Hmm.
Uh,
Since I was goose stepping the entire time,
mm-hmm.
they were like, "Oh, you need these Hitler boots."
Yeah, put your arms down, please. Or the one.
I couldn't stop.
So does that
No, but
mean
I was also swing dancing. Do you remember the movie Swing Kids? I never saw it, but I just remember the trailer for it. I think Matthew Modine was in it.
I never saw it either, and my only
I,
recollection of it is commercials that I don't remember.
yeah, like I just remember laughing like I was stoned at the existence of this movie.
Look at these assholes.
Like there are swing dancers who are somehow a resistance to Hitler, but they're also like having a fun time
I
swing
mean,
dancing it up.
of course they are. They're fighting Hitler with swing dancing. What's not to have fun about? So I
Yeah,
have
fair point.
questions about running shoes. Or
Yeah, I got
because
all the answers.
you brought it up because I said I don't like hard things on my feet.
Mhm.
Did Are you telling me that you wear those shoes that have the toes in them that you like?
No.
Just lie for me. What do those
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like?
yeah, yeah. I love them. I have socks like that too, where it's just like individual gloved sock feet.
What's that feel like? Is it
Oh,
gross?
it's wonderful. I love it. It's very warm all the time.
Does it feel like each toe gets its own hug?
Yeah, exactly. It's like really tight and constricted. And
That sounds great.
I try to take them off, but I can't take them off, so they're just stuck on.
Mm.
Very hot all the time. My feet are sweating right now.
Yeah, I can feel it from here. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm just, ugh, gross.
Like it's starting to smell bad too.
Yeah,
Like
it's,
uh body
yes.
odor and mold kind
Yeah,
of.
it's not getting any better. It never will.
You know what? You should get some scissors.
Cut my toes off.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant. Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand the appeal of those things either. So I guess like the real, you know, the way you fuck with people the most is wearing those like glove socks and an open-toed something or other.
Yeah, people think you have monster feet. Who has purple toes? That doesn't make sense. I had a friend that was so obsessed with are they called Vibrams?
I
Those,
don't know what that is.
I think that's what they're called, the shoes with the toes in them.
Is that what they are?
I think so. And she's like, yeah, I know they're ugly, but they're so awesome and they're so good for your feet. And then it turns out it was all a fucking scam and the guy lied about how good it was supposed to be for your feet.
I mean, it's weird because like I don't know if those things are good for your feet or bad for your feet,
No, they're
or
bad.
why are they bad? Like
They
why are
just
they
fuck up.
worse than something else?
I think they fuck up your arch or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know, but it's if it doesn't, it's not beneficial. Whatever it is, whatever bullshit he was trying to sell, like it's more natural. No, it's just bullshit.
There are people that are really into like barefoot running, which is crazy to me
That
for
is
every
fucking
reason.
insane. Do they also love broken feet? Is that what they love?
I don't know. I don't get it, but like when I do races, I
Hmm.
will sometimes be like, holy shit, like the person next to me is barefoot.
No.
Yeah. And it's like, how does this person live? Like, how do they exist?
Is the bottom of their foot a giant callus? Because
Must be. It's got to be.
they don't
Completely,
sweep the
completely different
street.
human beings. No, of course not.
You're in
Running
any
in like the New York City streets.
in any city street. That's just
Yeah.
fucking insane. You know what I love? Glass in my feet. And then also sewer junk and rocks and animal shit. That's what I love in my
Yeah.
feet.
There's never going to be something you're like happy your foot came into contact with. There's no like, oh,
Oh,
good.
finally!
Right. There
I've
are
been
only bad things that your feet can come in contact with. Only horrible. Ugh.
I don't even know what to say to that. I
Yeah.
Aside from what I've already said.
Yeah, so just sort of piggybacking on that idea, I am very much a supporter of the take your shoes off at the door type policy because the streets run with filth.
I can't support it. I know it's right. I know. I hate it.
Did you know that half of the world thinks you're foul for not
Yeah,
doing
I
it?
do. And I don't fucking care because I'm an American. And,
Half the world.
listen,
Half of the world.
you think I'm disgusting
Probably
for,
more than half the world, actually.
you think I'm disgusting for not taking my shoes off? You haven't seen my socks.
The finger glove things.
Yes, and I haven't
Ugh.
taken them off in years.
Oh, they must be so warm.
I shower in them. And then I put plastic bags over them so they get moldy. What do you want? Take your choice.
Yeah, I gotta say, putting a putting plastic bags over your socks into your boots for a snowstorm when you have no other options,
Mm-hmm.
turns out it's a great way to do things.
Right?
Yeah.
Get that bread bag.
Get those bread bags out, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Want to clap it in?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Let's do it. What's up, guys? It's On Fire Tonight with Josh and Tressa. We are here to talk about Man in the High Castle, Season 1, Episode 7. The episode is called Truth. This is your one and only warning. We are going to spoil the episode because we're going to talk about everything that happens. Pause, watch it, come back. You're back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I'm not familiar with that song.
I just made it up just now.
Wow, you're quite the little songbird. Tweet, tweedly deet.
That's right.
What'd you think of this episode, my friend? What do you think of the show?
I like the show a lot. This episode was kind of boring for me.
Yeah, there was a lot of tense stuff, and there's like a lot of groundwork being laid, but not that much action.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. It's like when you watch the pilot of a show and they have to lay out all the ground rules and introduce everyone. This is an episode where it's like we need to introduce more intrigue and what's going to happen in the future. So just hold on tight. It's going to be kind of slow, but it'll pay off in the end.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. There are like a lot of there are a lot of stacked tense scenes with all of our characters. Basically, every single one of them gets like real tense shit going on this episode.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dig right in.
All right, I want to talk about it. Okay, this first scene, we start off right where we ended off in the last episode with Joe Schmo looking at these blank files and like, what? I snuck in here for nothing? And right behind him is John Smith. What's his title?
Obergruppenführer John Smith.
Thank you. And
yeah,
he's like,
it's Oscar Mayer Wiener Dog.
what? Yep, what he said. And he's like, so bro, have you told me anything that's true? What's up, Joe?
Yeah, he pulls out something that a person with daddy issues is going to be immediately affected by. He tells him, Joe, I'm disappointed in you.
No!
Right.
Don't tell my dad Adolf Hitler. He's like,
Tressa has a theory, you guys. If you've been listening, you already know that Tressa has a pet theory. And that theory is that Joe Blake, his real name is Joe Hitler. But I don't know.
I'm very smart.
All we know
So,
is he didn't grow up around his father.
and he's very important, and everyone wants to impress him. So he's like, so Joe, tell me about this girl that looks exactly like this drawing that I have in my pocket right here.
Yeah, he pulls out the fucking drawing. I love that the drawing can't die. The,
Who fucking gives a shit? Fucking throw that piece of shit in the trash. I hate it.
no, that drawing is going to outlive us all. Like somehow that drawing has made it back and forth into the neutral zone all the way to New York.
I mean, god damn it. That thing is like something that I can't think of right now.
Yeah, that thing is unstoppable. So, all right, so we cut to Juliana in San Francisco. She's trying to decode some documents that she stole from the office.
Oh, is that what that was? I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
there's just like stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what to make of it. I mean, like she just grabs some stuff and she's like,
Right.
this is obviously important for some reason.
Maybe I can decode it somehow. No,
Right.
of course you don't know anything. You don't know fucking shit. You just fell into this.
Well, honestly, she's doing pretty well for someone that just fell into this. Like she's gotten a lot done. She's like outwitted and killed the bad guys.
Okay, yes, 100%. However, she don't know no fucking codes.
Well, she didn't even know that she was grabbing something that was coded. She just knew that she was grabbing something. Like she probably didn't even see what it was before she grabbed it.
I don't even remember her grabbing it, so it's fine.
It was from the folder marked grasshopper
Uh, uh
back in the listening station.
yep. Frank comes home
It's
and
raining outside. He's all wet. They both apologize to each other. And Frank has been crying for Laura and the kids.
she's like, "Have you been crying?" Fuck yeah! I'm still grieving, you idiot. Yes, I've been crying. Why aren't you? Your sister's dead too. What?
Well, they live in very traumatic
Fuck.
times, to be fair.
Jesus.
Like, we keep learning how traumatic these times are. Characters let slip details about how bad life is and has been through the war and through these years since the war. Anyway, yes, he's been crying for Laura and the kids. And he's like, listen, I had all this rage and I just had to do something like you were doing something with the film. And so
I was
made a
going to murder
gun.
people.
Yeah, I made a gun and I got some bullets and I was
Tomato,
going to shoot the
clamato.
prince. But then I was at the speech and I saw a little boy. And I saw, like, he saw himself in that boy, which is, and this is wonderful because I love how this, like, I love how this hits the timeline of like what's going on in America in the 60s with like passive resistance and anti-war movements and Martin Luther King, and specifically the idea of when you see someone who's attacking you, rather than attacking them back, you picture them as a baby, as the child that they once were, like that innocent, and you see yourself in them, and you can't hurt that baby. And then he knew that he had to do something else, like that violence wasn't the answer.
So wait, are you telling me that if you went back in time, you wouldn't kill baby Hitler? I'm saying fuck that baby.
Okay, so what you're saying is the baby will grow up to be Hitler if I don't kill him.
No questions asked. Absolutely, Hitler will be him. That baby will be Hitler.
And the only thing I can do is either kill him or not kill him. I can't do anything else that would affect the outcome of his life.
Of course not.
I
It's murder
can't
or not.
I can't make sure that he has a happy childhood.
No.
I
It
can't whisk him away and have him be brought up by a happy family.
that doesn't exist back then.
All right, well, I'm going to have to think about it.
The millions of people you would save by murdering one baby.
Oh, I'm just kidding. I'd kill all babies, not just Hitler. I'd kill all babies.
I know. That's why it's fun.
All right, so Frank and Juliana kiss back in Long Island.
Yeah. We're we're so sad. Let's do it.
I
Shut
mean, they're
up.
like, they've been going through a lot as individuals and as a couple.
They need a release. You are so fucking fed up with me.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I feel like every time I say something, you're like, this fucking bitch.
Yeah, why don't you tell our listeners all about the release Frank and Juliana need?
Remember that giant Dr. Manhattan dildo? Let's talk about that for an hour. Anyway.
Longtime listeners, letterheads, and super fans all know that Tress is talking about the phenomenally popular and amazing show Watchmen on HBO. We're big fans.
That's right, Josh. Big fans.
But Tressa specifically is a huge fan of the Dr. Manhattan dildo, which she likes to talk
Yep.
about a lot.
Yeah, it's like the size and shape of a thermos, and it's metallic blue. Gorgeous!
It glows. It glows blue.
Wait, are you telling me it's not metallic? It's just glowing?
Yeah, I mean, he's a radioactive man, so for verisimilitude,
Is the dildo radioactive?
gonna have to ask the dildo.
So Joe's back with John, and he's like, all right, I'll tell you everything about Juliana. This lady is a dummy. You don't want anything to do with her, John Smith. Wait, okay, Joe, but what about that car crash? Was that really her in the car crash? No. Fucking Joe.
All right, Joe, get your things. Where are we going? And an officer who's just been like standing on the front steps walks in. And it's like the early morning hours. It's like 2 a.m. This is like the late night after VA day. Everybody should just be like nursing hangovers at this point.
I'm sure they are, too.
But the Obergruppenführer is all business. He sent his old friend Rudolph off with the
To
Nazis.
his death. I mean,
Maybe.
honestly, it's gotta
I don't
be
know.
to
It
his
doesn't look
death.
good for him.
No, they're Nazis. They don't fucking coddle people. Julie gets a call from Arnold, her stepdad, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
He's like, "Look, you gotta come and talk to your mom. She's getting all crazy and sad, and she needs somebody, and I gotta go to work."
Pretty much. So then they hang up the phone. She tells Frank about Arnold actually working for the Japanese and not the post office like we've all believed for years.
What?
Yeah, he listens. Like, I found this room at the Nippon building.
And they're like
where-
forcing him to, right?
No, he's like,
What?
it would appear that he's in charge.
No. That monster.
Meanwhile, back at the antique store, Robert Chilton receives a phone call.
Oh, from who?
It's the hip couple that dropped by the shop that he wanted to sell high-priced items to. They invite him for dinner, and he's confused because he's being invited not for like a business meeting, but as a friend.
For
And
leisure.
he's fucking awestruck. He's so honored. He almost pees his pants.
You know what? I would put money on he did pee his pants.
Yeah. So he totally peed his pants, ruining an antique chair he was sitting in.
And pants. Antique
Yeah.
pants.
The antique pants ruined. Okay. We cut back to New York. We've got Obergruppenführer John Smith and Joe Blake, and the Obergruppenführer's like toady guy that walked into the house with them. The
Yeah.
toady is basically saying right off the bat, they should put a fucking bullet in Joe's head. Like,
See?
he's not
Nazis.
fucking around.
But John Smith's like, we can't kill Hitler's son, you idiot. Is pretty much what he says.
At no point has anyone said that this guy is Hitler's son.
I can see what they're saying, though. I'm reading between the lines, Josh.
He's like, listen, Joe, you're going to get a chance to redeem yourself. You're going to use your budding romance in the service of the fatherland. There is a new film. You are going to go and find it. And if you fail, your girlfriend and you both die. Hey, you know what? Let's call her now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So they just have her number in San Francisco because they're very well informed Nazis.
Yes. Frank
Unfortunately,
answers.
Frank answers. Yikes. I thought that those two were like on the road to reconciliation.
They were.
Oof, tense moment.
Yikes.
Juliana's like, I can't talk to you now.
You idiot.
I'll call you tonight. He's like, here, let me give you my number. I like that she tries to get off the phone and she's like, hey, let me call you later without getting his number. And he's like, let me give you my number. Gives it to her. She's like, it might be late. That's fine. Frank, meanwhile, is like, what did he want? That's your dude friend from the neutral zone? She's like, I don't know. We didn't talk.
I told him about a cookie recipe that I was really into, and it's fine. It's nothing.
She's like, listen, nothing happened between us. And he's like, okay, if you tell me that, I believe you.
Or do I? And then the Nazi guy, the toady, is like, all right, let's go tap Joe's phone immediately, just in case.
Yeah, definitely. Wire that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Juliana gets over to her mom's house. Arnold is in a hurry to go to the post office to go to work. It's not really the post office because that's not really where he works at all.
Why are you going in early? What's going on at the post office so early, Arnold? No answer.
So then, okay, he leaves. The mom, who's like kind of a nervous wreck whenever we see her.
Yes, she is. She is a Valium commercial.
Right? Like she's a fucking pillhead for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Mother's little helper.
Hello.
Woof.
But she's like, you know what? Pretty convinced that Trudy was dead last night. Just had the gut feeling, the same exact horrible gut feeling I had when your dad died. Exactly when your dad died. And I was convinced.
He was 5,000 miles away, but I felt it in my bones. I felt it in my soul. I knew it to be true. And I had that same exact feeling. But
it's gone now.
What? I woke up this morning. I don't have that feeling anymore. It's like nothing ever happened. So everything's okay.
Yep, it's fine.
So this is what I'm dealing with over here.
What?
I feel like Juliana should break the fourth wall. Juliana should break the fourth wall, turn to the camera and be like, this is what I'm dealing with. Am I right?
You guys, can you believe this?
Every day with this.
But honestly, that scene, Juliana's just like, oh, what? Who? I don't. Trudy's fine.
Yeah, she's got to like not let on that she witnessed her sister's murder.
Yeah. And
Because they don't know it yet. Nobody's told them.
And Actress is great. Juliana is terrible at acting. Because she looks terrified and disturbed.
I love the way you put that. The actress is great. Juliana cannot lie. She's terrible at it.
Yeah.
She's got no poker face.
No, she does not.
Back in New York,
Yeah.
Joe Blake gets out of a taxi cab. He's back home. He goes inside an apartment building. Kid named Buddy and a woman named Rita greet him. Joe presents Buddy with a gift. It's that copy of Huckleberry Finn he bought in the neutral zone.
Won't that kid get in trouble if somebody sees him reading that?
I don't know.
Mm.
Joe is apparently Hitler's son, so maybe he can
right,
call in to the head office.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, turns out Joe's got a girlfriend and the girlfriend's got a kid. And that's who he lives with. She was worried about him. He's like, listen, I have to answer a very important phone call tonight. You and Buddy have to be quiet. She's like, so you have to go away again? She's like on the verge of a nervous breakdown. She's basically like Juliana mom level younger.
Yeah, she
right?
is.
Like,
yeah,
there's some hyper tense women in this episode.
there is. It's
She's like, I haven't felt safe while you were gone. And fair enough. Like, it seems like a horrible world to live in. Probably you weren't safe, and maybe you're not now.
absolutely a single mother in Nazi America. No, thank you.
In Imperial America?
Whatever.
Oh, wait. You're right.
Yeah, they're in.
Yeah, it's
New
Nazi
York.
America. You're totally right. My bad.
You know, when Trump was president. Am I right?
Wow, topical.
We see Juliana walking through some like street market.
Yeah, it's like the market area where they sell bird cages and birds, because there's a lot of that.
That's my favorite part of town, just to walk around in.
Like, why does she have to spend so much time cutting through the birdcage zone?
It's beautiful, that's why.
She sees a woman who looks just like Trinity.
Oh, she's gonna follow her, right?
Yeah, she's like in the crowd, but then she's gone.
Oh.
She tries to follow her, but
Too late.
yeah.
Or whatever.
We cut to Tagomi, who's lighting incense in front of pictures of his deceased wife and deceased son.
That's who that was.
Yeah. He cries as he lights incense for them. And then he goes outside. He's wearing his robe and he's watering his flowers. And his neighbor next door says, you've just got a magic touch with those flowers. And he's like, there's no magic. You water them.
Fair enough, kind sir. He goes to the office.
Because he's got to work for a living.
I
He can't just
know.
spend all day crying and watering flowers.
But that's the dream, right?
You know what? This isn't just an episode of hypertense women. It's hypertense men and women.
It's hypertense people.
Yeah.
Keto's at his office. And he's
Yeah.
like, hey, Tagomi, check this shit out. Your secretary, her sister, some bullshit. That's what.
Yeah. Yeah, you have working for you a woman named Juliana Crane. Her sister Trudy is a known subversive. Known. Tagomi's like, thank you. I will take this information seriously.
Tagomi's
Tito
like,
is fucking furious. He's like, take it seriously. This is on you, motherfucker. He gets up and leaves. He's so fucking mad. He sees Juliana with a tea cart as he goes. Like, he can't even just storm off. Like, he's like, fuck.
Yeah, they all laugh at him. It's fun.
Nobody laughs at anyone. That does not happen.
Juliana comes into Tagomi's office and she's like, apologizing for bringing shame to him or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sorry I caused you embarrassment. I
Yeah.
will quit or you will fire me, whatever you desire.
And he's like, ah, it's cool.
Yeah, you're not fired at all.
No, this ancient book told me you were dope. It's fine.
Yeah, he lives by the I Ching, which is a 5,000-year-old book. And so I just ask it for all the advice I need. And it told me that you are a superior person in an inferior position.
You know, I'm not one to mock another's belief system. I totally am. But, I mean, it's a 5,000-year-old book. Maybe don't make all your decisions based off of it.
Hey, look, the truth is where you find it, right? The name of this episode is Truth. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I will right now.
Yeah, smoke it up. Put that in your crack pipe and smoke that rock. So
Angel
yeah,
dust.
the I Ching told him she has a purpose, something special. And then he tells her in sort of like a confessional moment that when he was a young man in Kyoto with his wife, they grew beautiful flowers. And she immediately says, I'm so sorry for your loss. He writes a note and says, take this to personnel, add this room number to your clearance. So he's adding some level of clearance for her.
So was it obvious that his wife was dead in that conversation? Did she surmise or did she know? What's up with that?
I think that she's paying attention and I think she's paying attention and she's empathic. So even though he did not come out and say, my wife, God rest her soul,
Even though he would not do his Borat impression,
my
did.
wife.
All right, anyway.
The only person that can do that impression in my book is Ashley Botting.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So Juliana goes to go get that clearance he told her to get, and Tagomi's assistant walks in and closes the door, and he's like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's like, do you owe her something? Does she have something over you?
How good are those personal services?
Whoa.
Zip.
Tagomi says, find out about her sister. And it seems like we got to find out like how big a deal this subversion thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's what the assistant has to go do. Frank and Ed are at the machine shop working because some people got to work instead of crying over their flowers all day.
Thank you. But good news, everyone gets to go home early.
Half day, everybody.
Woo!
Go home and watch The Price is Right. Eat whatever's in the fridge.
Hell yeah, sumo wrestling. But
what's my game?
but y'all got to get searched before you leave.
Yeah, you're getting pat down, and also they're going to search the entire building when you leave.
It's like, Frank, get the fuck out of here. And he's like, say less. And he's gone.
Yeah, so Keto's lieutenant is like, should I stop him? Because it's just happening right in front of them.
Yeah.
Not even like
they're like having a conversation
sneaky about
3 feet in front of them. Hey, Frank, you should get out of here. I heard you. Bye. Why are okay?
Yeah, and Keto's like, not now. Just let's pat these idiots down first, or whatever it is we have to do. So Juliana goes to the personnel office and puts in the paperwork, and hey, guess who sees her there? It's her stepfather, Arnold.
Oh no.
What the fuck are you doing here? Same as you, motherfucker. I work here. Gosh, Jesus Christ, we can't talk here. Meet me at the diner later.
Fine.
Peace. All right, 5,000.
Yep. And now Frank's eating lunch with
Yeah,
the guy from the hardware store comes and's
Mark
like,
Sampson,
"Thank you," because I
his
forgot his
Jewish
name.
friend.
And
They get a couple of bento boxes. Mark
mhm.
tells the kids to run along.
So excited to run along.
Frank is like, I don't get what the fuck. You're Jewish. And he's like, yes. And you're raising your kids Jewish. Yes.
He was like, "Here's the deal. I was in Boston when the war ended."
Say less.
And they both ran out. 100% say less because
Yeah, I was at Boston. Okay, I get it. Terrible place. At the end of the war, oh my God, worse than normal.
oh,
Overnight, lynch mobs were hunting Jews, just like every day.
have you ever heard about that river? People just dissolve in that thing.
True facts.
I don't
That's
know
actually
everything.
true facts.
I know. Man, you try and drag that river for bodies or a body, you'll get like 80 of them.
You're going to stop the search without finding the one that you went for.
It's just too many bodies.
So Mark Sampson is like,
Mhm.
listen, I'm Jewish. My ancestors were Jewish. I'm not going to let them take that away from me. This is who I am. Like that's what it is. I'm raising my kids Jewish. I managed to get out of Boston. Those of us who came out in one piece, we like hid guns and we got out of there. And you know what? Jews have a different sense of time. Like Hitler and the Nazis, they're not going to last forever. And Joe's like, and Frank's like, so you're talking about faith? I don't really have faith. He's like, well, what about art? It's like, what about art? He's like, beauty gives us hope type of thing.
Not familiar.
Yeah. So Mark tells Frank that the reason he loses is because he has an inner fascist telling him what to do. He doesn't even need the
Mm,
Nazis. He's in a
in,
prison of his own mind.
internal fascism.
Yeah.
What's up?
That's the panopticon.
I'm not. Okay. Joe's at home waiting for a phone call, and his lady friend is like, "Okay, but are you in trouble or what?"
He's
And
like,
he's,
no, no, definitely not. I would never do that to you and Buddy.
I gotta go. This is my favorite. We go
Uh-huh.
to the antiques dealer, going to dinner at the fancy Japanese couple's house.
Yeah, they're like hip, young. They're sort of like the yuppies of the 60s.
Very wealthy, very hip.
Yeah, they're like upwardly mobile.
They can stand up all by themselves. I'm sorry. So he's like, "I brought you a present as a gift because that's what presents are." Oh my God.
He's like, so yeah, so Chilton is like super nervous and super excited. He walks in, their butler, who's like some old white dude, helps him out of his coat and hat. He presents a gift that he brought for them. They're these flapper shoes, which like apparently the wife had been admiring when they just dropped by for 2 seconds.
Right.
There's smooth jazz
But
playing in the
also,
background.
you don't, okay. I understand she was admiring the shoes. Can you fucking imagine bringing someone a pair of shoes as like, "Thank you for having me as a guest gift"? Shut, what the, dude?
Well, you know what? I don't know. Because, like, here's the thing Robert Children seems to be a
Mm-hmm.
person who knows a great deal about etiquette.
You don't bring shoes.
Well, he knows a thing or two about a thing or two.
All right. I still think it's crazy. I don't care.
I wouldn't do that, but I'm also like the person who shows up empty-handed like 9 times out of 10 because I'm an idiot. So maybe bringing some old used shoes is better.
Right, they're used too. Bro,
Yeah.
they have toes. No, anyway. Uh so the host, what's the host's name? Do you know?
I don't know. I just wrote down that they're like the hip couple.
Okay. He's like, "Hey, why don't you come? Well, I'll get a whiskey for you. I'll show you my collection."
Yeah, they're
And,
in this beautiful craftsman house.
mhm.
He's got all these antiques. He's like, listen, please. Oh, call us Paul and Betty. And Chilton is like, please call me Robert. And they're off to the races.
Oh yeah, besties. He's like, "Check out. This is my favorite piece." And he takes out from the shadow box this cartoonishly large Colt 45.
Colt 44.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, it's a Colt 44 from like the Civil War. He's like, this was taken at the second Bull Run. Chilton eyes it over. He's like, amazing. How do you know the real from the fake? And the guy's like, I have a practiced eye. That's wonderful.
That's delightful. Thank you for sharing this with me, Paul.
Yes. So they're not the only ones having dinner.
Oh,
Across town,
uh huh.
Arnold and Juliana meet at the diner near the Nippon building. Apparently,
Yeah,
this is a great place to have a totally unobserved conversation.
yeah, totally. We should probably not be talking about this in public, but we're going to anyway, place.
A block from where we both
Mm-hmm,
secretly
mm-hmm,
work.
mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. He's like, "Look, I don't know what's going on with Trudy." Or no, he doesn't even see that. He's like, "Hey, I told them everything about Trudy because I knew it would save her. And I figured I've had this job for 16 years. That's got to mean something." And she's like, "What the fuck did you just say?
Yeah,
What?
16
What?
years that
What?"
he's worked for them.
You
And
said what
he,
now?
yeah, he spilled the beans all about Trudy, told them everything.
Because thank God, that means she's safe now. Ooh.
Yeah, so he believes, because he was told this,
Mm-hmm.
that they let her and that idiot boyfriend of hers escape to the neutral zone, and thank God. So now Juliana is like, oh my God, this guy's a fucking idiot. He doesn't even fucking know who he works for and what they really do. And she's like, do you know anything about the film? And there's some discussion about how there's another one. And they're working around the clock to find it. Apparently, that's why he had to go to the office. And that's why it's been
Oh,
all hands on deck.
because there's a new film.
Yeah.
Back
Back
at
to
Paul and
Paul and
Betty's,
Betty's.
they're eating American dinner of steak and peas.
Yeah. Betty cooks it so well.
Mmm, peas.
Paul
Mm-mm.
asks Chilton if he is familiar with jazz and like Dixieland. And he's like, no, I don't know that. Just classics.
Yeah, that's not what he says, but yeah. And
And then
it
he's like, hey, can you help me with something? And he asks about a colloquialism. He's like, I heard an American say to another, hey, you old bastard. But he was talking to his friend. Aren't those rude things to say? And he's like, oh, well, we do this subtle thing with language. Sometimes we call a stranger as if they were a friend in order to show that we're angry. Like, hey, pal. Hey, pal. See how, like, it's like that.
it's subtle. It's stupid. When
And
he said
then,
it's subtle, the couple looked at each other like what the fuck did you say? What was that about, Josh?
what do you mean? The explanation of what
No,
it
no, no, no,
means?
no, 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 no. Like when what's his name, Childers or whatever,
Chilton.
Childen. He was like, It's stupid. It's just it's a subtle stupid thing. I don't do it. Whatever. And he's just like digging into his food, and the couple looked at each other like, "What the fuck did you say?" Yeah.
Was that, were they offended by what he said?
I don't know if they were offended or like they seemed offended, but I don't. Or they're like, "Oh, you don't think we can pick up on subtleties, you fucking dick?" I don't know.
I think, like the way he was saying it was in a way for them to save face. Like,
Right.
this is a thing that, like, unless you know about it, you wouldn't understand how to pick it up or what it means. And
Right.
I think that they would appreciate that it was phrased that way. But I also think that, like, they genuinely invited him in to try to have like a friendly, normal conversation with this guy, and he can't be normal around them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that look is like, we're just getting nowhere with this dude. Like, does that does that
Yeah.
feel possibly right?
Yeah, it was just I
Well,
told
so
you I'm
then
getting
they go
tested, right?
on for like, you know what it is?
Mm.
I think that that was sort of the testing ground, because the next question was about a book by a Jewish author that Paul was reading but didn't understand.
Right.
And so he's like, I'm reading this book. It's by Nathaniel West, but I don't understand it. And Childen talks about how it was written by a Semite, and if Germany and Japan hadn't won the war, Semites would be running the world today.
Right.
And
Which I'm sure you would agree would be most.
yeah, so it's sort of like so used to sucking up
Mm-hmm.
and saying the party line. There's no like relaxing and letting his hair down type thing.
No.
And
I
I think
mean,
that that's what they want.
mm-hmm.
I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit in a way that they don't deserve. I'm not positive.
No, I think that they were hoping to get, in my opinion, someone they wanted to hear about an authentic American experience. And they're like, this guy's going to give it to us because he's white and American. And he's got to hate the Nazis and the Japanese because he's an American. He's going to give us like this really authentic thing. And he didn't. And they were like, meh, I don't know.
Well, it's like they have different focuses and different interests. Like they love jazz. He wants to talk about Dixieland, and Betty cuts him off, as like a person always should if someone is talking about jazz.
Fair.
I mean, I like Dixieland jazz, but like
I
if
don't want to talk about it.
if the person you're talking to doesn't share that interest, you should probably just switch to a new topic.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Let's cut
Juliana
all that
calls
out.
Joe.
What?
Do you think? I don't know. I mean,
I
like,
don't
I
know.
think
I
this is
feel
like
like I
worthwhile
was rambling
exploration.
and boring. Okay, it's
I
fine.
don't think I don't think you were rambling and boring. Like, I'm not positive of my assessments here. And I mean, I think that there are lots of sort of open questions about what these different characters' motives might be.
Right. I mean, that's what this whole show's about, baby.
Totally. That's
Hmm.
totally true.
So Juliana finally calls Joe,
Yeah, from a payphone at the same diner where she was just having this
Dude,
verboten conversation.
that diner has got to be like sealed. Like it's got to be like one of those soundproof rooms where if you sit in it too long, you'll go insane from the sound of your blood flowing through your veins because it's so fucking soundproof,
Okay,
right?
so somebody's got to break that one down for me. I've heard about the existence of such a room,
Yeah, yeah.
but don't deaf people just have that level of silence 24/7?
Uh,
And they're not driven mad.
I don't know. You know what? Never thought about it. Good point, though. I mean, honestly, if you told me I could sit in a completely silent room for days and days and days, I'd be like, that sounds amazing. Yes, please.
I can't. No, I'd be the first one out of there.
Let's do that with $1 billion and see which one of us survives, because it's gonna be me.
Okay, so I mean, I guess if like I stand to win $1 billion, I might tough it out for a little
Nope.
while.
You'll go
But I gotta
insane.
tell you, I really can't stand this. I can't stand the peace and quiet.
I love it. I started wearing earplugs all the time, especially when I'm trying to sleep. It's the best.
Especially when people are trying to talk to me.
What's that? Can't hear you, Josh.
Also, not trying to.
That's right.
So Juliana makes her late night call from the payphone. Joe answers. She's like, "Hey, listen, I couldn't call from home. The lines are tapped. Joke's on you."
Oh, Juliana.
She's like, "Sorry, I didn't say goodbye." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. So do you know anything about this new film?"
I don't. Let
Just
me
that there
think.
is one.
I don't.
Do you know anything
Maybe.
about it at all?
Oh,
Uh,
hold on. That's I
there's
gotta.
something different about this one. And then there's like a
Yeah,
record,
it's different. It's a
hit,
different film. Of course, there's something different about it.
but there's something like
Yeah,
intrinsically different.
yeah, because it's different.
Yeah, the last one was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
This is The Mask. Weird, but still kind of similar, but different. What?
Right. So the payphone ends their call.
Or she is like, put more money in the phone. She's like, yeah, 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 yeah.
She's
Gets a
about
coin
to, but
out.
there's like someone behind her.
Eh, hangs up.
Yeah, decides against it. Joe's girlfriend is a woman on the verge of a nervous breakdown. She is very hurt, and Joe goes out.
Yeah. You're killing me. You're suffocating me, woman that we just met.
We didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
You can't introduce this character and make me care about her.
Nope. Because I don't.
I'm invested in Juliana, who I don't know why he should be with her either.
Nope. But I just want everyone to be with Juliana. Except Frank, because he doesn't need that shit.
I love the idea that Joe, raised away from his father, has the developed sense of responsibility to take on this mom with a kid.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? I will be the Hitler to you. I'll be the
Literally, no
Hitler that
one in
I.
this entire show has ever said, "You are Hitler's son," or anyone is Hitler's son, or that Hitler even has a son.
He's like, buddy, I'm going to be the Hitler for you that I never had and always wanted. And Buddy's like, I don't know what that means. And Joe's like, wink. So,
Back in San
now.
Francisco, Robert Children has it. Back in San Francisco, Robert Children is informed dinner is over. He's like,
Oh,
"Gulp, what?"
oh, it's so
Two.
early.
He's like, "Oh, perhaps you'd like to come over to my house sometime next week."
No, we're
And
good.
they're like, "Nah, dude." And they're like, This was very instructive. And he's like, oh, I see. And he is so sad and very formal as he says his goodbyes. He thought
Fucking
that they were
heartbroken.
buds, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not buds at all.
Nope. He's. I love his whole storyline. It's so silly and fun.
Right? In New York, Obergruppenführer John Smith is listening to the recording of Joe and Juliana's phone call.
Their bullshit phone call where nothing happens.
Yeah, it's 2 seconds long.
Yeah.
And he's like, does she know more? Can she get to the film on her own with her contacts there?
Did you not just hear the phone
Like,
conversation?
you know what I
Oh.
know, dude. You know at least as much as I do.
Which
You're
is
the
nothing.
Obergruppenführer. I am not.
Yeah. Well, guess what, Joe? You're going on another trip.
Better hope you find that film, homeboy.
You know, I noticed you real good with my girls, Joe. I wonder if that's because, Buddy. How's Buddy doing? You better do good.
Yeah, there's a real clear threat that just like Tressa would smother baby Hitler with a pillow, Obergruppenführer John Smith would take this 10-year-old boy and just tear his intestines out if need be.
Exactly like that, yeah.
And he's like, okay, good luck, Heil Hitler.
Never not funny.
Yeah.
So Frank visits Childers? God damn it, what's his name?
So back in San Francisco, Frank
Yeah.
visits Childen's antique shop.
He's like, bro, I got the best idea. You're gonna love it. I make guns, you sell guns. Let's do this.
He's like, I'm not an arms dealer and I don't sell fake shit. He's like, wait a minute. Ding, ding, ding. I got an idea here.
How about I do sell fake shit and you make this instead of guns?
Yeah, it turns out that Childen totally fucking is a con man and knows it about himself. And he's fucking butthurt.
Oh, so hard.
Because they gave him the high hat.
So
he's like, check this out. Hold these two Zippos. Can you tell the difference? One of them was in the pocket of FDR when he was assassinated. So it turns out FDR was assassinated.
Oh.
Yeah. And the other one is just a fucking Zippo. Can't tell the difference. The only difference is one of them is real and one of them isn't. So what we're talking about is this whole thing is all in their heads. It's a game they play on themselves.
What?
Yeah. So I got this great idea. We're going to make this Native American necklace and we're going to run the scam of a lifetime.
Yeah. $80,000 for Sitting Bull's necklace. He's like, well, wait a minute. How do you know they're not going to know it's fake? He's like, this asshole was convinced he had a real gun and it was just aged with some oil that is
Yeah, it was
something.
like chemically aged and it was very obvious to Childen, who knows how to look for that shit.
So they're going into business.
Yeah. Frank is like, even better.
Sounds great. No
Yeah,
mechanical
that's gonna be
shit to put
way
together.
better.
And
Dope.
easier. Come on.
Right. No weapons charges.
No.
Because that shit's federal.
What is the federal government here?
I think that there are 3 governments. There's the Nazi government, there's the Japanese government, and then there's the absolutely no government in the middle.
The Marshal.
The Marshal is the government. Okay, so Frank's back home. He's drawn a sketch for this counterfeit necklace he plans to make. Juliana walks in and tells Frank, Arnold thinks Trudy is alive. And he's like, what? And then she's like, and I think I fucking saw her in the market.
Well, it wasn't her, dummy. You
Yeah.
saw her die.
He's like, listen, the Kempeitai came looking at my work. And she's like, were they looking for you? He's like, I don't know.
Uh,
And they basically make plans to run off to the neutral zone. And she's
what?
like, but what if Trudy really is around somehow?
Bitch, she ain't around.
And then we see Tagomi reading up on Trudy.
Yeah.
He's got her
Hey.
file.
Yeah.
It is comprehensive. He
Mm.
calls Juliana into his office.
I don't know. Just the way he said it, it was like, "Hey, yeah, I heard about your sister, and guess what? She's dead."
That's not how. Wow. How does your processing work?
I told you I'm getting tested, right? So,
All right. So, just for anyone that needs to have Tressa decoded, what actually happened,
mm,
Tagomi says that when Juliana showed compassion for his dead wife, who he had not even said was dead, that placed him in her debt. So he has found out about Trudy in order to tell her the truth, which is that Trudy is dead. And I'm very sorry to tell you this. And she's like, how do you know? I was given information from the Japanese authorities. And do you know what happened to
and
her body?
thank you.
He's like, it's a terrible place to see. And she
Okay,
says, well, only with the truth can one move forward.
your own culture says that you have to tell me. It's like the rules.
So he gives her an address and a chrysanthemum, and she hops on a bus.
Meanwhile, Joe's in San Francisco all of a sudden.
Yeah,
That's a,
plane lands in San Francisco. Joe gets out, tries to hop into a cab.
and they're
He
like,
is
I don't care who.
grabbed.
I don't care whose son you are. You're not getting in this taxi. Get in that line.
So, what I love about that scene is that it rings so true. Anytime you go to a brand new place where like the rules are different than what you're used to,
Yeah.
you don't know to recognize order from chaos and chaos from order. So
Mm.
Joe gets to San Francisco. He's used to cabs in New York. You can just hail them and jump in them. He's never seen a line like that. He's never seen order in that particular way.
Right.
And so he gets in line for the taxi, a thing that like he's never done before.
Yeah. Yep, true.
So Juliana gets off the bus next to a field.
What do you think that note said that Tagomi gave her? It was
It's
like,
like get off the bus next to a field, I
and
guess.
then walk a lot, and
Yeah.
then walk a little bit more. And when it smells really bad, that's probably where your sister is.
Yeah, she wanders through the woods. She's covering her nose. We hear flies buzzing. There's a mass grave. She drops the flower. Bodies have been dumped completely without regard.
In the shallowest of graves. Like,
Yeah, they're not even buried. They're just dumped on the earth.
they just kind of moved the soil a little bit out of the way.
There
Why?
are ashes blowing in the breeze. Perhaps there's an incinerator somewhere nearby.
Mm, didn't notice that.
Yeah, a few land in her hair. She finally identifies a body that she thinks is Trudy's. She gets down and uncovers her hair and sees that it's definitely her. And she cries. And then we see her walking in a daze in slow motion back through that birdcage market. What she doesn't see is that behind her
Mm?
is Joe Blake.
No. He loves bird cages too.
Interesting. The birdcage, I see. It's
Mm-hmm.
perhaps a metaphor for all of them.
Absolutely.
So he has a very ambivalent look on his face.
You know what? I don't know what his deal is at all ever. And I love that about that character. I
Yeah.
do not know his fucking goal. I don't know his end game. I don't know. I know his dad is Hitler for fucking sure, but that's all I know about him.
Don't you think if his dad were Hitler, he
Hmm.
would have like more pull? Like he wouldn't just be living in obscurity, and that
He's a bastard, of course not.
like why does he have to do anything that they tell him to do?
He has to prove himself. I don't know where you're not getting about this, Josh. It's so simple.
Well, anyway, he's on a mission. He's in San Francisco.
Like it or not, he's doing this mission. Which I don't know. Do you like it or not? What side are you on, Joe?
Everybody's got to track down this brand new film reel.
The new Popeye film. Josh! I can't believe it, but we're out of time.
Uh, it's very interesting to me when they reference so that so in this episode and in the last episode they make reference to bad shit that went down in America between the war and now. So we
Hmm.
hear about like in the last episode they were talking about Cincinnati,
What did they say about Cincinnati? I don't
or
remember
was it
that.
Cleveland?
I don't remember.
They were talking in the last episode they were talking about some bad shit that went down in Ohio.
Okay.
Like that was when Rudolph Wagner, the conspirator guy, was at John Smith's house and they were talking about their shared
Oh, yeah,
history
yeah, 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 yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They did shit in Cincinnati and he does not sail anymore, is part of it. And so now in this episode, we hear about like how bad shit got in Boston, which just sounds like every day in Boston.
uh,
Yeah. So
um,
yeah. So
I mean, the Wahlbergs weren't even famous back then.
yeah,
Mm.
this this changing of history means that there would be no Marky Mark.
No.
There'd
You
be no
shut your
Donnie
mouth.
D on the backup.
No. Shut your
Drug
mouth.
free son, so
What?
put the crack up. Those are real lyrics.
I believe it. Oh. So basically, we had camps here right after the war.
Sounds like and
Yep.
it sounds like they were fucking horrible.
Yep. Just
So
as bad.
yeah, we're talking about American concentration camps.
Josh, that's all the time we have.
Okay, you're
What's
right.
that? What's
Yeah,
that?
you're right. You're right. Guys, that's all the time we have for this episode.
Oh
Thanks
my
so much for joining
God.
us. We will be back again and again and again. Please join us.